What prompted this initiative was the realization and appreciation by ourselves as Sanparks that, like all organizations in South Africa, we play a very critical role in enterprise and supplier development. But on engaging with SMMEs over years, we realized as well that it's sometimes very difficult to be inclusive of SMMEs from communities close to our parks because they often struggle to raise finance. They don't have working capital. So even if we do have the desire and the opportunities are given for them to supply commodities and services to Sanparks, they cannot because they need that access to finance to be able to do business with us. So with Sanlam coming on board, Sanlam comes on board with a project that allows for, and this is a pilot project I must stress, that allows for SMMEs that we have contracted to be able to access funding or working capital for them to begin doing work for us. And this is, at the moment, because it's a pilot, it stands at a maximum of $1 million. So we are hoping that with this access to finance, we then are able to pull in more suppliers from our neighboring communities. And we're looking at a 50-kilometer radius, or communities from a 50-kilometer radius. So we're very excited about this. Kruger National Park has neighboring communities that total about 3 million. So there are 3 million people around here that we can use to get services and goods from.
So just how much money are we talking about?
Well, in total, because it's a pilot, we're starting off with projects that have a value of up to $1 million. And Sanlam is then able to provide capital to that level, about $1 million, on a rotational basis. So that they've put forward a total 10 million rand fund for this project. But most critically, and what excites us the most, is the fact that this is on a zero interest rate basis.
What criteria are you going to be using to select these SMMEs? Are these people already doing business with Kruger National Park?
So it will be on the basis of our usual procurement processes. So when an opportunity or what we call request for quotation is sent out, then anybody and everybody can participate, obviously within this 50-kilometer radius. And we procure them using the normal and legal requirements from the PFMA. Only after we've gone through that process and have made that appointment, we then make an offer to the entrepreneur to say, well, if you have issues with regards to accessing finance, here's an opportunity. They're not obligated, but for those who do not have that access, this is an amazing opportunity, and I believe it will unlock a lot of entrepreneurial ambitions and create a foundation for entrepreneurs in this region.
So what kind of services will these entrepreneurs be providing?
Anything. An organization the size of Sanparks or even just Kruger National Park, our procurement budget is massive. We procure everything from sheets to soap. We procure gardening services, cleaning services. So it's a very, very broad range of things that we can do. We're hoping it's going to be a successful pilot, because if then it is successful and Sanlam as the private sector is happy that the return on investment, and by the way, as I said, it's interest-free, is comfortable enough, and that we have also worked very well as a public entity with themselves to the benefit of the community, then we're able to expand it to other parks and also perhaps increase the loan threshold, if I may put it that way.
So how aligned is this program to your 2040 vision?
It's aligned because Vision 2040 is all about inclusivity. It's all about taking national parks from a position of isolation from their communities and including the communities in the beneficiation. So we want to see communities around our national parks benefiting very directly and quantitatively from our activities as a national, as a conservation entity. So you can very well imagine what impact, if we get this right in terms of supply and enterprise development, that's a very measurable impact then we're able to provide going forward. So Vision 2040 is about inclusivity, it's about co-creating with the communities a vision for conservation going into the future. So there is the conservation element, which is mostly scientific, but beneath that you have an entire machine, which is South African national parks, that is run like a business and has to be run like a business. And that's where there is that intersection between Vision 2040 and us procuring directly and enabling procurement from our communities, our neighboring communities.
Have you done your market research to find out whether this is exactly what SMMEs in this area need?
Yes, 2 years ago, just towards the tail end of the severe lockdowns, the colleagues here at Kruger National Park had various workshops across these communities that surround us, and engaged on exactly those issues. This is how we get to the solution, by the way. What are the challenges? Why are you struggling to provide services and commodities? And one of the issues that came up was the absence of access to capital.